Mangaru's Tutoring Services, Mathematics Classes.
Divisibility rules. If a number divides exactly into a number, it is said to be divisible by this number. For example, 10 is divisible by 2 because 10 divided by 2 is 5. And of course, 5 is a whole number. 24 is not divisible by 7 because 24 divided by 7 is 3, remainder 3. And here, of course, we have two other examples. So we can test a number to see if it is divisible by another number without actually doing the full division. We can utilize the divisibility rules. So here we have a rule for the number 2. Or in other words, to test if a number is divisible by 2. So a number is divisible by 2 if it ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, which of course is your even numbers below 10. For example, 10 is divisible by 2 because the last digit is 0. If we have 16, we know that 16 is divisible by 2 because the last digit is a 6. What about 17? Is 17 divisible by 2? No, because the last digit is 7 is an odd number. How can we know if a number is divisible by 3? A number is divisible by 3 if the sum of its digits, meaning its individual digits, is divisible by 3. So let's check a number. If we had 42, how do we know if this is divisible by 3? Well, we can simply add 40 plus 2, which we know is 6, and we know that 6 is divisible by 3 because 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. So then 42 is divisible by 3. What about 41? Is 41 divisible by 3? Let's see. 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. 5 divided by 3 will not give us a whole number. We will get 1, remainder 2. So 41 is not divisible by 3. At this point, you can feel free to pause the video and take down the notes. When you are finished taking down the note, you can unpause the video. So let's continue. The divisibility rule for 4. A number is said to be divisible by 4 if the last two digits are divisible by 4, or if the number ends with 2 zeros. So let's take a look at this number, 148. Actually, let's change that to 548. So if we look at the 5, we may say, well, 5 is not divisible by 4, and then we may not be sure if the entire number is divisible by 4. But luckily, with the divisibility rule, we just have to look at the last two digits. Is 48 divisible by 4? Yes, because 48 divided by 4 is equal to 12. So then this entire number is divisible by 4, right? Okay, what about 500? Is 500 divisible by 4? Yes, because the last two digits are zeros. The rule for 5. If a number ends with a 5 or a 0, then it is divisible by 5. For example, if we have 25, because this ends with a 5, it is divisible by 5. If we have 4035, this number is divisible by 5 because it ends with a 5. If we have 2000, this number is divisible by 5 because it ends with a 0. And the divisibility rule for 6. If a number is divisible by both 2 and 3, then it is also divisible by 6. So this should be easy because we should know our 2 and 3 times table. So let's take a look at a number. Let's take a look at 96. Is 96 divisible by 2? If we remember our divisibility rule for 2, we would know that any number that is an even number is divisible by 2. Is 96 divisible by 3? Yes, because 3 into 3 is 1, 3 into 9 is 3, and 3 into 6 is 2. Also remember, we can check this by adding the 2 digits to see if it is divisible by 3. So if we had a number such as 63, and we want to know if this is divisible by 3, remember we can add the 2 digits, right, which we get 9, and 9 is divisible by 3. But remember, if a number is an odd number, it is not divisible by 2. You will get a remainder. You can feel free to pause the video and take down the notes and the examples, and feel free to add your own examples, but ensure that you test the example. Let's continue. So now we are on the last 3 rules. The rule for 7. How do we know if a number is divisible by 7? To determine if a number is divisible by 7, we use the following steps. Use the last digit of the number only, multiply this digit by 2, and subtract the answer from the remaining digits. So let's take a closer look at that. So if we have 112, the last digit will be 2. We multiply 2 by 2, we will get 4, and then we say 11 minus 4. In this case, we will get 7, and since 7 is divisible by 7, then the number 112 is divisible by 7. So you can read that again. And take your time and ensure that you understand this. The rule for 8. The rule for 8 for larger numbers will still require some division. So it's not as easy as some of the other rules. A number is divisible by 8 if the last digit is 8, or the last 3 digits are divisible by 8. So if we have this number, 1768, right? It's easy to tell that this is divisible by 8 because the last number is 8. But what about if we had a number 1500? Since the last digit is not 8, we will look at the last 3 digits. And then we divide those last 3 digits by 8. And if it is divisible, meaning if we get a whole number, then the entire number is divisible by 8. And the last rule for 9, a number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. So this is similar to the rule for 3. So let's take a look at example the example that we are given, 945. So we are simply going to add 9 plus 4 plus 5. So that's 9 plus 4 is 13, 13 plus 5 is 18, and we know that 18 is divisible by 9. So the number 945 is divisible by 9. What about 572? 5 plus 7 is 12, 12 plus 2 is 14, and we know that 14 is not divisible by 9. So 572 is not divisible by 9. So please take down these notes.
Thank you for watching. If you have found this video to be helpful, please feel free to contact us for more information about our classes.